Good morning, good morning. Welcome. Today is Friday. It is the last day of the week. And the market has been reaching. I'm hoping that we get a little bit of a sell-off here. That'd be really nice right at the start of the morning. But if you're here for the first time, my name is Tyler. I'm super glad that you decided to join us this morning. I'm going to help navigate you through the wild world of day trading futures. I'm going to be sharing my daily trading bias from a higher time frame down to the lower time frames, down to the minute charts, sometimes the 30-second charts, depending on what we are seeing in the market. In addition to that, if you are watching this after the fact, you can jump to the key moments using chapter markers below to find all the trades that I've taken, along with the explanation, what I was thinking, why, what I was doing, all that good stuff. And then lastly, Apex has extended their 80% off sale for their Apex evaluation accounts, which you can get using the code DTJ. You'll get an 80% off and the most updated discount that Apex offers you can get with the code DTJ. I've pinned that in the comments. And with that, let's go ahead, open in prayer, and let's jump up to a higher time frame and see what the market is doing. Father, we thank you. Father, we thank you that no matter what yesterday brought, that today is a new day, full of new mercies, full of your guidance, full of your leadership. And Father, we just submit ourselves to you. We thank you that you've given us the ability to produce wealth. And Father, I thank you that you have given us the mind of Christ. And Father, we exercise that this morning as a co-heir in Christ. We choose to walk in line with your leadership today. Give us wisdom to navigate the markets. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, folks, let's go ahead and jump to a higher time frame, and let's see what the market is doing. Hang on here. Let me get situated. All right. We're sitting somewhere around here. We got a very large opening range gap. Let's see. The size of it is 228 to 122. It's 100 points where it's currently sitting right now. If we jump to the daily time frame, we have pushed higher. We've already ran the previous day high, sitting right here. That really means that this low pretty much is out of play. Doesn't mean that we honestly, we could still run down into this portion. That's still a possibility. But running this low, I'm just not putting my money onto that. We look at the 4 hour. We've swept this high right here. We have the previous week high, previous day high. We have Asia high and a breaker all right there on the 15-minute, which we'll drop down to. We've inversed this fair value gap and we pushed to this high. On the hourly chart, we've swept the high. We'll see if we are making a swing high here. We'll find out in this next 30-minute candle. We have our 3 a.m. low. We're going to mark out right here. That's our London low. And then we have our midnight open we need to mark, which is right here. And we've been just sitting around and messing in this new week opening gap and new day opening gaps, just sitting all right in there. Let's mark 10 o'clock here just so I can see it. drop down to the 15-minute time frame. Here's the breaker I was referring to. We came up into that breaker right here. We'll see if it wants to find resistance at that Asia high and breaker, or if we're just going to push right through it. The next targets would be Wednesday's high, which is sitting right here, and then we have London high sitting right above that. So after an aggressive move lower, it wouldn't surprise me if we do that. I would prefer to see a little bit of a push lower and then a higher move, maybe down to the midpoint of the opening range gap. That would be of interest. That'd be about a 50 handle move. We have Thursday's equilibrium of the range is sitting right here at the previous month's high, sitting right there. That also is in line with a breaker, low, high, lower, low. We tapped it here at the 3 a.m. candle. Nice move. So I would like to see maybe a little bit of a discount here and then a push higher. Let's keep an eye out on this. Honestly, this fair value gap sitting, one of these fair value gaps right here. Let's figure out which one it is. We got an hourly right here. We have the 15-minute. We'll look at this 15-minute. We have a breaker right here that we just tapped. It's quite annoying. Before the market opened, I tried to participate and seeing if I could find out where that high was, but I just wasn't able to do it. It looks like it grabbed it at 9:17. And there's the breaker right there. We'll see if it wants to participate in that. We have some ways down here to go, and that's why I think we could see some lower prices here. Outside of that, I think we just got 4 minutes till market opens. Everything else looks, it looks like we're about to sell off. We've already hit our key level of the previous day high, so we could see a sell-off here, and it's really what I would like to see happen. How's everybody doing this morning? We got Guttenberg, Ted, Eva, Tony, Kevin, good morning. There is news at 9:45, yes. I did not say that, but there is news at 9:45. My camera is doing some funky things. I'm not sure exactly what it's doing. So more than likely, we're gonna sit and wait for 9:45 to play out. See if there is a decent move, clear and obvious. I mean, this breaker was nice, clear and obvious. I may look at trying to participate in something like that. All right, we took the 930 model there. That played out really nicely. I stretched it to 20 handles just to see if it would reach for it, and we got it. So nice 20 handle play there. I don't get to participate in those very often, so I'm grateful that I was able to do that there. But now we're going to sit and wait, see what the market wants to do here. We hit the midpoint of this opening range gap, which we want to wait for. 9 o'clock, 9:30. So let's check out the 30-minute candle. 30-minute candle, we have the breaker that we just tapped, and we saw that drop. So that's one of the reasons why I also took that and was willing to let that 9:30 model run a little bit further. We have London lows down here that we could be reaching for. But we also, I'm sure we're probably going to get our first fair value gap here in about a minute's time. All right, Ted. Well, that's nice. Don't you like that? In and out, green and done. That's not bad, not bad, not bad. Midnight open is right here. And then we got our London lows. And Friday's range. The Friday, the midpoint of, the midpoint of yesterday, of Thursday, is sitting right here. So equilibrium is sitting right here from yesterday. So if I'm just highlighting points that could be of interest to the downside, depending on how far we want to run. All right. So we filled in. Ideally, I would like to see this stay open right here. The remainder of this opening range gap. I would like midnight open not to be tagged, and I would like to see us start pushing back higher. If we're going to see higher prices today, that's kind of what I would like to see. However, I do see the forming of a market maker sell model. You can see it on the 15-minute, especially with running into the breaker in the Asia high. We could I think we need to wait till 9:45. We got about 10 minutes left to see how that plays out. If we get some aggressive movement lower, we'll have a breaker right here, right at the midpoint of the opening range gap. You can see that at the 6:30 candle. You'll see that candle right there. That would be a nice breaker to the downside, depending if we get some movement here, back up, and movement lower. So there's some option there. But when I'm looking at, am I bullish or bearish? Personally, I'm on a higher time frame. I'm bullish. We just tagged yesterday the daily fair value gap. This typically means energy to the upside. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't come back down, tag it again, and move higher. But from a practical analysis standpoint, fundamentally, we want to see these act as support to push price higher. So I'm looking at this daily time frame and I'm going, well, we just on this candle here came down into here. Now we could try to dig deeper. That's an option. But typically when we see a candle like this and retrace a lot, we want to see this move higher. And if we're going to keep an eye out on a level, it's going to be the midpoint of this wick, which comes in to be about 22,000, somewhere around there, around $22,050 or 50, 22,050, somewhere around there. That's the midpoint of this daily wick from this entire wick right here. So we'll see how it wants to react. I have 2 midnight opens. Which one is my midnight open? Let's get rid of this one. That's an old one. And we're going to get rid of this. That's just too much info. Hourly here. Oh, no, let's go back. Looks like we're going to push lower here. There wasn't a fair value gap anywhere in here. Maybe on the 32nd. No, nothing here on the 32nd. So there's nothing for us to participate in on going lower. That would, in my mind, be chasing. Because there's not a PD array that I can participate in. Is there a 1 hour time frame fair value gap from yesterday we are currently respecting? Is there? No, I mean, I'm not looking at yesterday because all this price action right here ate away all of the price action from yesterday. I guess this is some price action from yesterday, but we're not even there. This is 3 a.m. So everything that we're looking at is from here to here. Everything we're considering is right here. And we do have this hourly fair value gap sitting right here, but we're obviously running right through that. And we're reaching for London lows. So I'm going to look for London lows. We do have an hourly fair value gap here below the London lows that it could reach for. But nothing that's really standing out in my mind at this point. If we drop down to the 15-minute, there's still nothing here. All this is really, really well delivered, efficiently delivered. There's no inefficiencies in here except for that hourly. So that hourly may stand out a little bit more. We do have a 4 hour that we're sitting in right here. So again, the reason why we're looking at this higher time frame and not really looking at the 1 minute price action is because we haven't received any entry points for us to participate in this. We just filled the opening range gap. We just hit midnight open. We have London low right here. If you want to try to chase it, you can, but the question is, how high does it go before it actually continues? And so that's the thing that I tried to stay away from. And if I was going to chase it, I would want to see an inversion fair value gap so I know that there's a higher probability that we find resistance before we run lower. Because I just don't want to, get in here and it just keeps creeping back higher and higher. We just have to wait. We got to be patient. There'll always be something else. And we got news at whatever time it is. First fair value gap. Where is that? 9:30 right here. Thank you, Ted. This is our first fair value gap. And also, I mean, I like the idea of pushing price lower. I just don't know how I'm going to participate in it because we got three things. London low, we got equilibrium of Thursday's range, and we got the hourly fair value gap. So these areas right here is kind of where I want to see how price interacts with this area. And maybe we get a 10 a.m. reversal. That would be nice. We do some of this. We do a quick wick lower, and then we start reversing at 10 a.m. That would be a nice way to participate. So we just want to wait for more structure. Yesterday, I made the mistake on rushing, and if I wouldn't have rushed and I just waited, I would have been able to participate in two or three fantastic breakers that would have been just beautiful to participate in. But I wasn't able to participate in it. So until then, we're going to sit and be patient. We got news at 9:45. We'll see what comes up. Is it the hourly? The hourly fair value gap you told me about? We are currently at low. Are we currently at low of days? Yeah, we're currently low of day right here. The other thing we have right at, this is nice. The other thing we have right at London low right there is we have a breaker on the 15-minute fair value gap. Check that out. Look at that. Look at that beauty. There's a breaker right here. This is anchored to the 10:15 a.m. from Thursday on the 15-minute chart. 10:15 a.m. That is a breaker. So let's see how we hang out around here, and let's see what happens after PMI. Is that what it is? Flash PMI. I mean, unfortunately, we're going to have two giant down close candles right here, and we'll see what happens. There's your turtle soup. If you wanted to turtle soup something. I mean, that would have been 20 handles right there. Forty tick scalp from the bottom. Did you take that? Roberto, yes, we took the 930 model for about 20 handles. Wow, what a reaction. What a reaction. This doesn't look bad right here, folks. If we close above it, it's a single fair value gap. We hit London lows. Single fair value gap. We have a high. It's relatively low risk. It's a 6 handle stop loss about if we close below that fair value gap. It's not bad. Honestly, I would prefer us try to make a lower low and then move higher and then use this as a breaker. That would be nicer. Especially with this giant move. I don't know. We got potential lower price action down here that I'm not sure if I want to take this with not enough structure. The nice thing about inversion models is they're one of the first PD arrays to be created or violated in a move higher, but sometimes they can be early. So if you're interested in taking a long and you are more of a risk taker, which I typically am, but the more I trade, the less I am. So this would be your long, is what I'm trying to say. If it closes above. There's your close above. That's actually not a bad close. That's really nice close. Just right above it. But we'll see if we want to see. We'll see if it finds support here. I'm going to try a long. We really need to make a higher high right here. If we can't make a higher high, I might cut the trade. Got 20 seconds. We've efficiently delivered there. I'm going to close it. I don't like it. I wanted to see it move right away. We didn't make a higher high. I'm going to close that trade. If it run, I mean, it's still a valid trade, folks. I'm already green, and I didn't want to take a loss. So I wanted to see it move in my favor right away. So this is still a valid trade. Valid trade until we close below. Until we close below this fair value gap right here. I mean, it's not looking pretty right now. I'm glad that I closed the trade. But that's kind of what your risk is. I just didn't like it. I really wanted to see this candle make a higher high, and it just didn't do it. And it closed red, or white in my case. I don't even have red anymore. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I like the idea of equilibrium. So this is very aggressive. We're going to drop right here. The question is how far. We're going to see how it reacts to the hourly fair value gap that we have sitting right there. We have that hourly fair value gap sitting right here. There's equilibrium of Thursday's range right there. Now, what I will take is this inversion to the upside here, if it gives us this. The reason for that is we're coming back above the first fair value gap, and we've made a lower low, which will turn this into a breaker. So there's just a lot of extra confluences that I see that can support this idea. So that's kind of what I'm going to look at. My guess is it will probably maybe happen around 10 o'clock if it wants to do that type of move. But I'm bullish at this point. Yes, the candle on the hourly looks extremely bearish, but I'm not bearish. I'm probably more bullish than anything. Now I could be wrong. The bullish move could happen in the PM session. I don't know, but this is kind of what I'm looking at. So we got our low, high, lower, low. We got our low, high, lower, low. We've hit London low. We've hit equilibrium of Thursday's range. We could reach for this, and we're at a breaker right here on the hourly. This would be an inversion to the upside. Right here, this is our inversion to the upside that I'm looking at. And what it would deliver is a breaker, a bullish breaker right here. So it would give us something like that maybe. And you can participate early on these inversions when you can see the formation of this breaker. Because you expect that, well, I think this is going to be the breaker block. I think this is going to turn into a breaker. So if that's the case, we have a fair value gap right here that could act as an inversion fair value gap when we close above it. So you close above it expecting it to push higher, and you get to participate in that initial breaker move. That's all. I'm giving you a whole scenario that may not play out, but that's kind of what as you back test, you just get better at identifying so that you can be prepared for moves. That's not, no, Emilio, 930 is not your first fair value gap. You can't use 930. It has to be after 930. You can't use the 9, because a fair value gap consists of 3 candles. So here's candle 1, candle 2, and candle 3. Your 3 candles have to be after 930. You can't use the 929 candle to participate in the formation of the fair value gap. So your first fair value gap is actually at 937. I'm anticipating the hourly fair value gap to get mitigated and possibly long. I would like that. But right now, our job is to be patient and sit on our hands. I'm getting this set up for my micro account right now. It's going to be over here. Lavish mine on you. I pour my love on you. NQ target for today is 893. Ooh, you're looking lower, huh? Cyrus? Okay. And even if, so here's the thing, if we see, let's just say we get a bullish move, we may not see it all the way up here, folks. Honestly, if we're going to take a move, it would be, let's just say we run all the way to the hourly fair value gap. This right here is our equilibrium of that price run. So we could target this as an area to target for a long. Because let's just say we're wrong that, let's just say that my bias for a bullish scenario is wrong. We're still going to get a bullish move, and there's a high probability it will run to a point of equilibrium. So that's what we want to identify, is where is that equilibrium level. Okay, so we made a lower low here. We got 2 minutes till 10. And we got more news at 10. That's right, Tony. Yes. No. Technically, you would call that, but because it's so small, it's insignificant, you're going to go to the larger one. I mean, that's just... I mean, I don't know anybody that's using that as your... I mean, price action did stop there, but... I guess you could call it that. There's our hourly fair value gap. Last night we tapped the 4-hour fair value gap with a swing liquidity taken and then towards downside, classic internal to external. Look at that. Well, I tell you what, whenever you do a giant candle like that right around 10 o'clock, it wouldn't surprise me if this stays there. We'll see what happens. Unless we're just going to keep falling. What did Cyrus call? Cyrus, you called 21,893? Let's see if the consequent encroachment of that candle is respected. That'll be a big sign if this is respected like it is right now. And also, we closed above, the hourly candle closed above this hourly fair value gap. I like this. We got some volatility though, so we got to be careful. Let's look at the 4-hour candle here. 4-hour candle. Displacement, but the London lows really is the top of that 4-hour candle. This is a balance. This is all balanced. We could see price expand lower if it wants to. I don't see it running all the way down here. Midnight open would be considered an hourly breaker. High low, higher high. That would be your breaker. A little too large for me. What do we got for the 15 minute? For the 15 minute, all of this is a balanced price range right here. Equilibrium is now lower. Equilibrium of this entire drop. Well, let's take it to the high. I like the idea of longs towards this and towards this breaker. I like that idea. But everything looks pretty messy here. Do you see how messy that looks? Look how much, when you look at the ratio of wicks to bodies, the wicks are much larger. So there's nothing I can do here to participate in. I mean, and honestly, you're speculating if we're just going to drop here. You're speculating if we're going to go up here. None of this shows me anything. I will say these wicks are telling me more higher price movement than lower, but still, it's not something I'm going to say, okay, I'm going long then. No, we need to sit. We don't have enough. ICT has changed his first gap to that 936 candle. He had 937 at first. So so he changed it because of the, that is so small, man. Cyrus, are you Emilio? So Emilio, are you watching all his stuff then? If you said 936, are you watching his signals? He says they're not signals, right? I'll be right back, folks. I need to use the restroom real quick. Did I make it just in time? Are we getting some displacement? Are we seeing some activity? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Let's see. Let's see. This means nothing unless we see expansion higher and a fair value gap left. Look at the 5-minute. Ugh. Do we close above this? Nope. That's just nasty. What about the 15-minute? See how we've been respecting this this wick? Yeah, we came down here, but we immediately ran the other direction. Yeah. I think our 10 a.m. is our low for right now. Waiting for an inversion. Which inversion? Because we had one right here. This was an inversion right there. I mean, I'm not saying you should have taken it. But I like this candle showing displacement. We're going to be extra patient today. I was not patient yesterday. Paid for that. Now, with patience comes missed opportunities at times. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I will accept that. I feel like this fair value gap is just a little too far away. You know what I'm saying? I could see us come all the way up here, tag this, maybe wick above here, and then come back down. And so this fair value gap would kind of just be pointless almost. Watching this fair value gap right there to see if it's respected. I'm not gonna lie, everything looks treacherous, dangerous, not good. All these wicks, disrespecting of that. Now the question is, do we make a low? That's what we need to see. We have to see a low being made if we're really to see if price is going to start respecting, or if price action is going to be. If I want to consider price action good, I need to see these PD rays play out. So far, here's our inversion to the downside. We need to see at least this low at 10.07 ran. Is that going to happen? I'm not sure. Extra piece of information is the 1 hour SMT. Took the low already. See, look at this. It's going to violate it again. Okay, it didn't violate it yet, but it certainly looks like it's on its way. I'll let this play without me because I want to see price action start respecting PD rays before I participate in it. So not only will the violation of this inversion fair value gap tell me that it's not time to participate or play, but it also will tell me that it could also mean that price action is moving in this direction. Yep, I want nothing to do with that. Look at that. I mean, there's just way too many wicks right now. Well, since we're not seeing anything here, let's check out ES. Yeah, why don't we do that, huh? Let's see what we got. All right, so this is the 4 hour time frame. 10 a.m. from yesterday. One hour inversion right here. You know what? ES did not run its previous day high. We are probably going to see it run this. Oh my gosh, just straight down. We got low resistance liquidity right here. So here's what I think. I'm not going to look for a long on NQ until ES runs its previous day low. I'm going to say that with pretty good confidence. Is that previous day low is too close for, and we got equal lows over here too. So we need to see that. We need to see that hit. I guess what I'm saying is I think this is going to be ran right here. I think there's a higher probability of this being ran since ES. Who mentioned that? Cyrus, I appreciate that. I always forget to look at ES, but if I'm looking at the correlating market, which ES is that, why would I try to go long when ES has not hit an obvious target? So we're not. We're going to wait. And if it runs that low, to be honest, it could go further. And honestly, technically, this fair value gap that I marked out right here is still valid. We never closed above it. Look at this. We closed on it. We opened above it, but closed in it. This is still not a violation of the rule. So this fair value gap is still valid to the downside. I wouldn't participate in it. I'm not, no. Because I've been watching the wick of this. Now looking at ES, I would say maybe I would have considered it more. But it's probably going to run without me here. And I'm okay with that. It's just, this isn't looking really attractive in the long run on anything that I like. If we get 2 to 3 candles after open, all with fair value gaps, which would you consider to respect? The one that has more confluences. The one that has more overlapping PD rays. Overlapping PD arrays is the secret sauce to confidence building. All right, so there's the new low. ES still hasn't grabbed the low. It's reaching for it now. Here's ES right here. Let's just wait and see when it hits. These are equal lows right here that we haven't even grabbed. So I'm not doing anything on NQ until this grabs. And then we'll see if it wants to give us a long. If it wants to continue to drop, then we'll see. All right, so there's the sweep of previous day low right there. All right, here's NQ. We're on NQ right now. I'm going to jump to the hourly to see if we have anything here. We swept this low. We got anything on the 4-hour? No. 30-minute? No. 15-minute. We got a bunch of liquidity sitting right here. We're going to mark this swing low here. And we just grabbed it. Minor sell side tagged right there. So sell side on NQ tagged, sell side tagged on ES tagged. Let's see if we get a reversal here. Let me rephrase that. Let's see if we get a significant retracement. Because that's what I would like to participate in. And this move has gone way lower than we thought. So let's mark this. So here's our equilibrium point sitting right there. This is considered a balanced price range right here. Meaning you should see it push lower. The hard part, guys, and I say this, and I'll say this every time, is when you see price action do this, it's so hard to maintain self-control and think that, man, I'm missing out on all this. Why can't I participate? And then start chasing it. Okay, here's an institutional order flow entry drill. That was a nice entry. If you thought that we were going to run lower, we had sell side here. But there's so many different factors that you just have to wait for the obvious one that stands out to you. So even though I'm not participating in any of this, I will get a trade that goes like this. I will. I mean, it's just a matter of time. If you had the analysis that showed that it was going to run lower like that, then maybe you could have participated in that. If you thought that this inversion fair value gap was going to play out, well, you could have taken that trade, got in here. You would have had to hold through some drawdown, though. You'd have had to hold through 22 handles of drawdown. But that fair value gap stayed valid right here. I'm going to delete this hourly fair value gap because it's bothering me. I like less. Obviously, this breaker is irrelevant. The wick that might still be relevant. I'm going to keep that on there. So let's talk about a double break day. We got our high where we ran the previous day high, and we have the low. So this is the next target. I mean, if we're going to keep dropping, that obviously has to be part of the cards. Though that 4 a.m. candle is also the daily low. You could potentially see aggressive price action right here. If it really is shooting for this, it wouldn't surprise me if it runs really aggressively. Order block. That's how I'd want to look at this unless it starts breaking through it. That was the 1030 candle. Typically manipulation. So I have my small account challenge that I'm trading, and I'm only allowed one trade unless I take a break even trade. And this unfortunately is not a part of my model. Coming up into an order block and a continuation lower, that's just not a part of my model. So I'm in this to watch it, see if it wants to do it. We called it out. It looks good. We have sell side liquidity here that it can find resistance in as well. So I expect it to do this, but I'm not participating in it. It'll be a 50 handle move to that previous day low. still don't know if I would have taken this. I just don't think I would have. Now, maybe when we were here, that may have been an option. I started calling out the lower prices at 10.19. So I could have participated in that because we still respected it. We were patient enough to see how price played out here. I think taking it at 10.13 would have been a little quick. We saw how it respected all of this. And it was at 10.19 that I looked at ES, courtesy of Charis, that showed me that we had lower prices. I think if I go back, this is where I should have pulled the trigger right here. At 10.19. When I felt very confident that we will hit the ES sell side. That's what I should have done. And that would have played out really nicely right there. So instead of chasing and, you know, being all pissed off about it, what I'm doing is I'm verbalizing my lesson so that I can remember for next time. We had low resistance liquidity right here. We had previous day low on ES as our draw that hasn't been hit yet. We respected the inversion fair value gap, and this point right here would have probably been a good enough one. Even this candle right here, below these two order blocks right here, the 1020 candle, the close of the 1020 candle would have been a good entry. It was below the order block. It respected the inversion fair value gap, and ES still had lower prices to go. So I'll take that as a lesson learned. You also look at the London low. Look at the London low here. Some of these things, like, this is why we sit on the charts and we read price action, because we learn things that when we look long enough, we start seeing things that we didn't see before. And the more you do that, the quicker you are able to recognize that stuff. So what did we see? What did we get here? We respected the London low. And then we got displacement, inversion fair value gap, respected it. ES didn't hit its low. This, I think that would have been this. I think that would have been the spot. So that's just a note for me for next time. A note for next time. I'm still not 100% on if we run the previous day low. Thanks, I'm done for the day. I got one account on 1,500 and one account at 2,000. Congrats, man. We're just waiting. We're waiting for something good. Waiting for something fantastic. Something amazing. What movie is that from? I'm waiting for something amazing, I guess. I feel like it's an animated movie. Can't remember. I've seen so many with my kids. With a 3-minute bullish signal, take the long towards the internal liquidity at 50% fib on ES. I typically don't trade ES. I like where equilibrium lies, right at the swing high, right at London low, right there. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that I didn't take this trade because everything was so sloppy. It's just, it was really hard. Honestly, because as a developing trader, I'm learning to recognize this and say, all right, I'm not gonna participate in this. I'm gonna stay out. So when we get this, I'm still thinking I'm staying out. You know what I mean? Yeah, I get it that we had an opportunity right there. But still, all before this, I'm thinking, heck no, I'm not touching that. So I think in time, as I become and I develop as a better trader, identifying the signatures in price, aka respecting London low, respecting the inversion fair value gap, identifying ES has a previous day low that it still hasn't tagged yet. Those types of things will help me become better in time. But I don't regret it because I would have regretted taking it and it turning into a loss. Could it be lunch macro to go higher? It could be. Arrow, you're right. It is The Incredibles. It was the kid. It was the kid on the tricycle, wasn't it? We'll see what happens here between 10:45 and 11. We'll see if we get any opportunities. The only thing that I know that I knew from the beginning was way up here, was the pre-market. You look at this structure, and I knew that we were going to drop. We hit previous day high. We were at a breaker. We had Asia high. And this was the breaker that I was watching right there. And I was not in front of the screen right here. I was not in front of the screen right here, unfortunately. This also would have been an entry as well. It was a little more aggressive. And I wasn't in front of the screen right here. It was when it was down here and that I was watching it, but then I had to get my kids to school. But because of everything that happened here, when 9:30 opens, I felt confident to go short based on the momentum that we were seeing here, based on already hitting a key level up here, and we were able to get 20 handles out of that. Handles would have been right there. So that's how much we grabbed from the opening price, went into drawdown by 4 or 5 handles, and then let it just play out for 20 handles. So that's the only trade that we took here this morning. And honestly, it's the only thing that was clear enough for me to take. This, if you didn't time it correctly, could have really hurt you. Stopped out. But the two opportunities would have been here and right here. 901, 917. All right, so we hit the previous day low. Good initial reaction. That would have been 30 handles right there from the tag of that. Yeah, we did close below that. Okay. So we're going to... We finally have a clear 5-minute change in state of delivery. ES also grabbed its swing low that I marked out as well. I not only did I have the previous day low, but I also marked this swing low right here from, you can see it on the hourly. See that hourly swing low right there? So we grab that. So we both grab liquidity. That's enough for me to feel confident about pursuing something here. No fair value gaps here. Sweep of liquidity, check. Higher time frame key level, check. The sweep was at 8:45. So we're in our macro time here to see if anything wants to happen. Look where our equilibrium is. Isn't that insane? Now that we've hit a potential low, our equilibrium is right at the previous month high. We did not close above this fair value gap yet. I'm not interested in this inversion anymore. We swept this high right here. It was an internal high. This candle swept this internal high right there. So not interested anymore on that. Five-minute order block, bearish order block tagged. We'll see if it wants to make a lower low here on the 5-minute. 15-minute, immediate rebalance. We went up to this wick right here, immediate rebalance. Could signal a push lower, but I'm not interested in that. Main reason why is ES swept liquidity and NQ swept the previous day low. I'd be okay with something like this. Argentina, how you doing? I got some friends from Argentina. Entered long or entered short off that fair value gap? Not bad. As long as your risk is low and you set your stop loss at the low. I mean, because you got to expect it could reach lower. But if it keeps respecting the midpoint of that, that would be nice. I'm hopefully coming out with a new video today. It's going to be about Apex. Keep an eye out for that. Apex, I tell you, you got to love them, you got to hate them. It's a love-hate relationship, right? How many of you on here absolutely would never use Apex. For whatever reason, because they don't do payouts or anything like that. Way to keep yourself honest there, Smashy. I appreciate it. A lot of people will not share when they... a lot of people will not share when they take losses. They'll only share on the chat, oh, just made $1 million. So I admire those that are willing to mark and share when they take a loss. Apex is not bad pricing, as in the pricing's good. I think the pricing's the best there, best on the market for the most part. I really I like it. It's low cost, and I'm new to futures. I'm currently funded with Top Step. Only reason I was with them is because I can trade on mobile. Gotcha. On the go. 80-90% off. Oh! Are you a scalper, day trader? Sorry for the ask. It's my first time in your channel. Gonzalo, welcome. I'm glad you're here. It's a combination of scalping and day trading. So I'll take small scalps, 10 to 20 handles, but if I can get at a low of day, a sweep of liquidity, and it run the other direction, I would love to run 50 to 100 handles. So my target and my goal as a trader is 50 to 100 handles or points, but I will take quick scalps as well if there's an inversion for a lower 10 to 20 handle target. So it's a combination of the two. But specifically, I trade a specific model, which is a breaker or an inversion model. And those are the only things that I prefer trading. And I focus on that. Does trailing drawdown stop on Apex when you are funded? It's when you're out of your drawdown period. AdZ. So let's say you get a 50K account, you pass your 50K account, now you're in your funded 50K account. Your drawdown, you have a buffer zone of from 50,000 to 52,600. Anything above 52,600 is drawdown free. You're basically free to do anything you want, except you still have to follow the 30% drawdown rule. So if you're at 53,000, you can only go down 30% of non-realized gains, which is $900. So you just don't want to go negative $900 while you're in a trade at 53,000. Which is pretty doable. You shouldn't be going down negative $900. You're insane if you're doing that. You're going to blow accounts. But on top of that, when you double your profits from 52.6 to 55, 52.6 to $55,000. So when you increase your profits from 52 or from 2,600 to 5,000, your drawdown increases to 50%. You can do non-drawdown, or you can do your unrealized gains to negative 50%. You don't want to do that, but honestly, the rules are rules that new traders need to live by anyway. But anyway, the new video is going to be over something that I learned that was very, very valuable to make sure that people get payouts. So I'm excited about the video. It's going to be fun. All right, so we're getting some expansion here right at 11 o'clock. And we have a change in state of delivery right here. We just got our change in state of delivery on the 5-minute. And I'm going to look for this breaker right here. Sweep of liquidity. Smashy, I wish you didn't get stopped out because this is looking nice. I take back this breaker. I want this one right here. I think I want that one. I'll look at both of them. But I'm not going to take this initial expansion. I'm going to wait for the retracement somewhere around here, and then go higher from there. First target that I would be looking at is taking some off at this swing low right here. And then the next would be the previous month's high sitting right there, because that's the equilibrium of this entire price run. That's the day trader trade I'd be looking for, not a scalp. I'm going to go long right there. Son of a gun. That sucks. Well, small account challenge is done. Look at that respect of that the consequent encroachment. I'm not going to take this on this stab lower, but if we inverse this, I'll take a long. I need to see it respect these levels a little bit more. All right, so this is my funded account here. I really like this. If I get stopped out here, I'll be done trading. We got another small breaker right here. 76, 71. We'll go 15 right there. Oh, I'm not in hardly anything. I'm only in one contract, guys. That's almost a waste of my time. I thought I was in more, but if it gets stopped out, then I saved myself the misery. And I might call it a day if I'm not on the right side of these moves. Well, we're going to be done here, folks. It looks like I was wrong. The bodies are respecting this. I have to move this down a little bit in case it wants to wick down here. The bodies are respecting the midpoint of this level. I just want to see if it plays out with this one contract. All right, so wicked out. Sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. We're going to be done, folks. We're not going to mess around. Not going to mess around with anything else. It's Friday. I'm back at break even. So my winner from this morning basically is erased at break even. So we're going to be done. Call it a day. And we will be back on Monday. I'm not going to take any losses here. That sucks. All right, folks. We will be back on Monday. God bless. Stay safe. And we will see you guys soon. Take care.